welcome to Faithful Grace Studio. I'm Mindy. I'm the creator here at Faithful Grace. And today I would like to show you how I go about the process of creating my altered playing cards and these little collage clusters. Several people have asked, I've mentioned in a couple of videos that I have been working on creating some altered playing cards, and I've started including them in the journals that I give away, just because I've got all these greeting or playing cards that I don't have anything to do with. I mean, you can only play with one deck at a time. You don't need all these different decks, and I've really enjoyed putting this together. It's using some scraps and things like that. So I thought I would just kind of show you my process. You probably know by now that every project that I have has a tray. So I use trays. A project will go on a tray, and that way I can carry the tray with the project on it into my living room or into my kitchen or whatever the case may be. But I can also pick it up and set it off my desk and put another project on my workspace. So it's just how I work. It's how I keep multiple projects going when I have too many projects going at one time, which is usually the case. So what we're talking about here are these cute little clusters. Let me move this to the side and I kind of show them to you a little bit better. These are just little clusters that I have put together with scraps and bits and bobs that I can attach to. You can do a lot of things with them. Sometimes I attach them to bookmarks. Sometimes I attach them to belly bands or envelopes in junk journals. Sometimes I will take one of those little folding paper brads, that fold over on the back, and put it on a page with that, so it spins around, just to add an interactivity piece to it. All kinds of things you can do with them. You can use them to embellish whatever. Sometimes I will just I don't buy gift wrap. I use recycled things, paper bags, packing paper. Sometimes I will even use some, depending on how big it is, some paper that I have painted on or splattered on or jelly printed on, something like that. And when I wrap a package and it's kind of plain or there's no bows or anything, I might stick one of these on there. So there's all kinds of things you can do with it. Sometimes I put lace in them. Like these have lace. This one has a little piece of baker's twine that was left over. This one has lace. There's just anything that's kind of a scrap that you think, that's not big enough for anything. Well, it might be. The same with the greeting card, or I don't know why I keep saying greeting cards, the playing cards. Now I do flatten them out. These have not flattened out or have not been flattened out. I will put them under a brick at some point, but I'm still working on some of these. But sometimes there's a theme or a color. Sometimes it's just whatever I have available. Just all kinds of different things that you can put on these. And then these are great for bookmarks. They're great to adorn packages, just sticking into a junk journal, whatever you want to do. So here's my tray that I use for this. So any little scraps, when I'm cutting out the junk journal kits that I put together, sometimes there's scraps or edges. Especially some of the pages, like this one, I know these are on some of them. So some of the pieces of the kits that we sell in our Etsy shop will tell you, print this page print it double-sided using one of the big sheets of paper that we included in the kit. So you print something and it has a full page of a design on one side, and then it might have tags or something on the other side. So when you cut it out, you've got a two-sided piece of ephemera. Sometimes when you cut those, when you're done with that, you end up with these strips that were on the back side that had the printed. See, here's one. It tells you what to do. Print this page double-sided with full sheets provided. This was the full sheet that was provided, but this was left over. There's no point in throwing this away. I can use that. And I know y'all probably think I'm nuts, but that's what this is. This is little scraps like that. Here's some little pieces of, I mean, even small as that, little pieces of lace, little pieces of fabric. These are some other little pieces. These were actually, at some point I decided that I was going to make a set of playing cards, altered playing cards that all looked kind of had the same feel. So I cut out all these little pieces of paper. But what I realized and then I never did anything with them. But then I realized that it covers up too much of the playing card, and unless you're looking at the back side, you don't realize it is a playing card, and that's not what I want. So I am using these pieces, but I'm cutting or tearing them. So like if I decide I'm going to use this piece right here, I will tear out a little piece on the corner so you can still see that it is a playing card, and then I'll glue that there, and then I'll put some embellishment on there, so something like that. But then I don't throw these away. Those will stay here as well. Another little pile of just little scraps and little pieces. These are little stickers, little cutouts, little fancy cuts that I've accumulated. So then I just take a card or a piece of, like this is one that I'm liking this for some reason. I just think it's cute. It's actually a piece of a master board that I did at some point. So then I'll take and just kind of add some things to it, and maybe this piece of paper, maybe I'll put this back there and then maybe I will put, maybe this one needs a little piece of this gold, so maybe we'll put a little of that back there. And maybe it needs this piece of lace, so maybe that goes back there. Well, that might be all except for maybe this. I've had this laying around. Maybe that. So then I can do a couple of different things. I can, and this is usually my process, I will take this, one of these, and I will kind of hold that together like I want it, and I'll put 6 or 8 more together, and then I'll go back and I'll glue them all. Sometimes I use staples. Sometimes I will staple a piece of it or part of it. I don't want it all to be nailed or all to be glued down. I want it to be somewhat fluid. So for this one, maybe I'll do right there. So that got the lace, it got that. So all of these are now stapled together, and then I can glue this to camouflage that staple. I can glue it right there and camouflage it, or glue it that way and camouflage it. We'll see. But I'll put that right there, and I will finish that up later. So there's a cluster just in those few minutes, or a few, actually not even that long. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll take 4 or 5 different pieces, lay them out here. I'm gonna have some different colors. Do it like this one. So maybe sometimes I'll do it this way. Actually, let's do that instead. Let's do this one. So I'll take and lay all these out. that more than one? It is. I like that one better. And then I'll just start going through my little, okay, well that one looks cute on that. I don't need that. How about, nope. Oh, these little teacups are cute. Maybe the teacups, nope, don't like that on any of those. That's blue. Oh, here's a bride. She would be pretty on something. Let's put her. Nope, don't want her on that. Oh, I like that. How about that? This is cute. This will go. Let's go on there somewhere. Maybe on there. She needs to go with that bride, but I don't want her on this one, so. I put that one, put a piece of that on there somewhere. And then might want a piece of this on that one. I want a piece of this on that one. I'm going to put that on there. Turns out that one is harder to work with than I thought it would be. I liked it. I still like it. Put that on there, but I have to find something else to go with it. I don't know what that's going to be. Oh, maybe this. Something like that. And oh, maybe there's some of these. Here we go. Here we go. I want that, I think. And that. That might go there. And we might put that there. So then I'll take, now that I've kind of got them laid out, let's just kind of play around. This is a sticker. No, it's not. Alright, so we're just going to put that. So if I do it like that, I can staple, got all those stapled together, and then I can go back and glue that over the top. How cute. All right, number 2 is done. Same here, we can want that to go underneath. These two can go right there. And then that's actually a sticker, but it'll take me a minute to get the back off of it. And I will probably, I have this little tool that I can't get to right now because of where my camera is, but I have this little tool that will help me rough up the edges. And I'll probably do that so the edges of this look a little old and beat up. So there's number 3. There's number 4. I'll glue that. And I like things to stick out off the side, so I'll glue that over to the side a little bit. Actually, probably more like that. That one will be cute. Put this back on the tray. And then here, let's finish this one up. Let's see how we want this one to look. We're going to put the lace on first. And then that. Did that get the lace? Yep. And then we'll glue that somewhere like that. And I probably will, and I almost always do, I will come back with some version of ink and just ink some of the edges a little bit to make them look a little, but just in those few minutes with this tray of scraps, we've made 5 beautiful little clusters. So that's really all there is to it. It's not, there's no, this is another one of those things, no rules. It's what you like. It's what means something to you, what matters to you, what is fun for you. This kind of thing is extremely fun for me. I love putting together little things like this, and then I have this whole stack to choose from when I go to put a journal together. So it's a lot of fun. I would encourage you to, especially if you have an abundance of something like this. I mean, these, I had a whole deck of these that were well worn that I really liked using better. These are not as well worn. They've been used some, but they're not as well worn. But every time I pull them out, I play around with them and shuffle them and work through them a little bit, so they're getting more and more. And you can, one thing that you can do with the playing card to make it look more used than it normally does, because they're coated, they're meant to last a while. I have taken, you can take it, and I can't show you, I'm sorry, because my camera's in the way, I can't get to it, but you can take those sanding blocks, put it between 2 sanding blocks and kind of rub your hands together like that with the sanding blocks in there, and it'll scuff it up nicely. And then you can mist it with alcohol ink or distress ink or coffee, watered down craft paint, watercolor paint, whatever you want to do, and it will give it a nice used, almost grunge look. So there you go. I hope you've enjoyed watching this process and talking it through, and I hope you enjoy making some of your own.